We'll get started shortly, but we have lots to talk about. Lots to talk about. You guys will let me know. Yeah, you guys can let me know what you guys want to talk about. Man, Caufield 39 goals. Doc's hurt again. Are they gonna call up Reinbacker? Are they gonna do that? I don't know. I'm not like totally out of the not totally out of the realm of possibility. I have to say, there's definitely like a chance here. I don't know. I don't know. Long story short, I don't. I think Reinbacker gets called up eventually. I do think that happens. Especially if the defense keeps faltering here. Oh yeah, it's also the 900th game for our old pal Brennan Gallagher. How many more does he have in him? So it was kind of a weird. It was unlucky for him. He had to play every game, like now to the end of the season, and then all of next season to make it to 1,000. The odds of this happening were not great, but then they completely eliminated those odds by sitting him against the Sharks. And then of course he gets back in the lineup. Then Doc gets hurt, and now he's a fixture on the lineup again. But yeah, you guys will have to let me know exactly what you think's hype right now. I mean, obviously, here we got Ryan here already. Happy St. Patrick's Day, Ryan. I hope you've got a beer in hand. I don't. I have a mug of fizzy water. Not very exciting, I know. Ryan says playing Boston without Jack in the lineup is the worst decision Marty has made this year. It's a little strange, isn't it? And I know that these are not the big bad Bruins of yesteryear, but they still got a bit of edge to them. And they're the Bruins. And they've still got what? Castellix in the lineup? Like they still got guys who can go. So I'm a bit shocked with the coaching, a bit shocked that they went back with Dobesh after he did not look great against the Sharks. Who was it now? It was no, it was Fowler Shark. No, it was Fowler Ducks. He looked okay. Kept them in late. Anyways, time to second guess Marty's decisions. That's for sure. We are heading into crunch time here, and the Canadians are, after the terrible weekend, like shockingly close to not making the playoffs. Like this is crazy. This team is too good. Frankly, it's too good to not make the playoffs. They're like top five like offensive team in the league. Um, they're super young. They're talented. They're better than last year. There's no excuse for this team to not make the playoffs, and yet it seems like they seem content to let this get down to the wire. Hey Karen, there is no Arbor. Arbor is not here. They put Struble in tonight. I'll have the lineup for you guys shortly, but that much was announced in advance. There's also new defensive pairings tonight. They look weird. Thanks for joining, Karen. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you. I hope you're having a good one. Yeah, here are the Habs lines tonight, and they seem a little out of order, but just bear with me for a second here. Okay, so the first line is the first line. Caufield, Suzuki, Slavkovsky. Second line is the second line. Newhook, Kapanen, Demidov. Bolduc is back in with Evans and Texier. Texier is taking Doc's spot. Doc is out 2 to 4 weeks, putting his season in jeopardy. There's not that much time left in the season. If he goes 4 weeks or any longer, he's done. Anderson, Deneau, Gallagher, the fourth line, the oldies are back together. And then some moves on defense, which God help us. Matheson, Dobson, Struble, Hudson is a pairing now. I didn't like him at the beginning of the season, and I sure as hell am not going to like him now. And Goulet, Carrier, which I think is the natural third pairing. So I think they're going to count on having 2 good pairings tonight. They're going to count on Hudson being Hudson, and then Struble's just going to be Struble, and then Dobesh is the goalie tonight. Ryan points out that they're going to have Janot, Zadorov, and Kastelik all in the lineup tonight. Yeah. So the Canadiens, by not putting in Jack-Eye, are taking a pretty big risk tonight, I would say. So let me know what you guys think about that. St. Patrick's Day was 2 of my son's due dates. They both came early. Yes, I also surprised my mom by coming very early into this world. It was all good. But yeah, so even more to talk about. So yeah, Doc is out 4 weeks. Jack-Eye's out as a healthy scratch against the Bruins. Dobesh back in nets. Even though he didn't play last game, and I thought Fowler played pretty well. Canadiens are a point ahead of Boston. They got a game in hand though, and 3 points ahead of Columbus to being out of the playoffs. So the Canadiens need to watch the heck out. This week they have a chance, I think, to really punch their. If they beat Boston tonight and if they beat Detroit on Thursday, I think they've punched their ticket. They're gonna have like a nice little cushion. It's gonna really force whoever's behind to really like get ahead, which is not easy this time of year. Especially Columbus, the team on the outside looking in. It's not to say that I don't think Boston or Detroit can't pass the Habs, but I think if they beat those two, they've kind of sealed up that at least a spot in the playoffs. Like I would be very, to me, like Columbus would be hard pressed to get in there. But it's got to happen. And man, they did not. They looked really bad over the weekend. Like I'm not here to sugarcoat it for you guys. The defense was just, as my colleague said, Brendan Kelly said in What the Puck yesterday, and then repeated by Stu Cowan today, a little more eloquently, I'll say. They just didn't look playoff ready this weekend. Just the defense just looked so porous that they did not look ready. They didn't look ready, and then as Stu said, as they get later into the season, they really got to figure out the risk versus reward of the way that they play. There is no doubt that they score goals. There's no doubt that they get back into games, but they cough up leads, and they give up bad goals. And they give up bad goals at bad times. And I know that so much of the raison d'être of this team is to be built around sort of this speed and transition and scoring and offense, and it's fun to watch and it's amazing. But I do think that they need to buckle down just a little bit. I don't want them to change their identity. They're not going to change their identity. They're not becoming the 96 New Jersey Devils, in the next 2 weeks. Like I think we have to get that. I know we're talking about the man-to-man system and all this. It's too late, I think, to do any pivots there. But I think that they're going to have to find a way to just clear the front of the net. That's it. Just clear the front of the net. Figure out who from this defense can block a puck with their teeth in the last minute. Who's the David Savard who's going to sit his fat butt on the puck with a minute to go in the corner and drain time while everybody yells and screams at him? Who's that guy? Like, I don't see why it can't be Jack Ayers. Jack Ayers, Struble, in theory, are big, strong dudes who could do it. And yet, Struble is like astonishingly bad in front of the net. Even though that's like that literally could keep him employed in the league for the next 10 years if Struble could clear the net, and he just like can't really do it. Ditto Jack Eye, but I think he's like a little more along the way there. The problem is he misses the guys, right? He misses the guys coming in. But like, I don't know. And Gooley, I mean, Gooley is supposed to be the, Gooley's kind of the weird wild card here. He just like hasn't looked right. La Presse, I think La Presse or Journal, I think today had a piece being like, what the hell's wrong with Caden Gooley? They targeted it since the break that he hasn't looked quite right. I don't think he's looked right all season. I mean, he got hurt quite early in the season, but I don't know if it's a lack of a consistent D partner. It's the moving from right to left. It's the shifting roles that he's having, but just for whatever reason, he hasn't looked either like a shutdown guy. And it gets to the point where I almost wonder, should you just put Hudson out there then? If you're just totally committed to like the transition game, in the last minute, should you just put Hudson out there and have him try to use his stick to steal the puck and dump the puck down the ice and not worry about clearing the front of the net? Because the guys who you think are clearing the front of the net aren't clearing the front of the net. So maybe you should try something else. I don't know. But we're getting down to crunch time here, and I would love to see the Habs try a little something. Hello, Homo Shalaga. Good to see you again. I hope you're having a good St. Patrick's Day. I hope everybody's celebrating a little bit. I know it's on a Tuesday. I don't know if anybody could take Tuesday off and have a little bit of fun, but it's never fun that they have St. Patrick's Day on a Tuesday. Hey, Mark, good to see you again. I'm alone here, but I've always wondered what the hype is with Gooley. I have never found him to be much good. Yeah, I've heard a little bit of that lately too, and I will say I get it. I get the overhype, because I think he was always destined to be like a solid middle pair guy, which is not like super exciting in this world. But I do think that people got a little like overboard with him sometimes and were like, oh my God, this guy is like a top pairing guy. He's definitely not that. And I think he's definitely not going to be that. But there's no reason why he can't be a middle pair guy. And I haven't even seen that from him. And now he's on the third pair tonight with Carrier, which I feels like the natural place for him to be at this point in his career. Which is a step down. A step down from a year ago and a step down from our expectations. Hey, Harry, good to see you again. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you, too. Mark says, I'd love to see Reinbacher brought up. Mark, I tell you what, today, Kent Hughes' old agency, Cortex, just announced that Reinbacher is their newest client. And let me tell you what, I do find it a little... I'm not saying it's a thing. I'm not saying it's a thing. But isn't it just a little strange to you that Kent Hughes' old agency signs up David Reinbacher on what seems to be the eve of David Reinbacher getting called up to the pros, to the Canadiens for the first time in his career and making an NHL paycheck? I don't know, my guy. It's a little weird to me. I'm not saying anything, but I'm not saying anything. Does anybody want to know what I made for supper? Karen, did you make what are the stew? Like a steak and kidney pie, or a Irish stew, like a shepherd's pie, something like that? Mark says my city's been shut down for 2 days. Massive snowstorm. Yeah, you're up in northern Ontario, eh? Up in Sudbury. I have heard that it's bad. Hey, the VINC. It seems Gooley's lost a bit of his physical edge that he used to have. Yeah, 100%. Is it the injury that he suffered earlier this year? Is it the shifting around of roles? I don't know what it is, but yeah, he does not have the edge, and the problem is that the rest of the defense is so centered on movement and puck moving and that kind of stuff that they need him to be a shutdown guy. And the whole thing is just like not balanced. Hey, SL. Arbor's not as bad defensively if some want to make him. As I say this, he is not cut out for the hybrid defense Marty wanted. I think that's the deal, eh? I think that they play such an up-tempo game that I don't know if he's like super suited for that. But if they trade him to like a bigger, slower, more possession team, I think he's gonna be really good. So they better watch out if they do decide to move him. We had a couple of too many men on the ice calls last game, Harry says. I seem to remember Boston taking one again a few years ago against Montreal. Yeah, I seem to remember too many men from a little while ago from the Bruins, eh? What happened to that one? That one was a famous one. Yeah, exactly. Maybe it is something. I don't know. I do think we're going to see Reinbacker. I will say though that I do think that if Engstrom was healthy, Engstrom might already be here, or whenever. There's like a weird day because the Habs are right up to the cap. There's like a day like today or tomorrow or like in a couple of days where there's some cap stuff and then they get like a little more cap room and then they can bring somebody up. Don't ask me. I'm not. What's his name? Their cap guy. I was gonna say John Severidge. Sedgefield. Sedgwick. Sedgwick. I'm not Sedgwick. SL says on a hybrid defense system, the man-to-man part takes away people from the net like Gooley and Jacky. That's a really good point. Is that why they're having a hard time in front of the net? Because they're just being pulled away from the net because they're playing a hybrid defense? Ryan says Reinbacker Engstrom can't hurt a fly compared to Jack Guy. Yes, they bring different things to the table, I will say. Mark says more snow than I've ever seen in my lifetime. Insane. Yeah, you got to watch out for the Ides of March. Those March snowstorms, they'll get you. Karen, okay, what's for dinner here? Black bean tofu loaf with roasted Greek potatoes and buttery steamed zucchini. Yum, I hope. That's really healthy. Good for you. I thought you were going to say something St. Patrick's related, but no, you're eating healthy tonight. I appreciate that. Marty doesn't like Arbor, Mark says. As soon as he makes an error, he's benched. That is. It's it's funny because like I agree with you, and then people can turn and be like, well, Jack Guy's played the bulk of the games as the sixth defenseman compared to Struble, so technically he likes him more than Struble, but I don't know. He definitely hasn't solidified his spot. I'll give you that much, and I don't know. I don't know if he ever will at this point. Because at this point, Engstrom and Reinbacker, if they're not coming tomorrow, if they're not coming next week, they're coming. Like they're here next year, which is another reason why I think they'll want to bring up one now. That way, they won't have two rookie defensemen to break in next year. They could bring up like Engstrom. Maybe Engstrom's back in a week. They bring up Engstrom, plays like 12 games or whatever, 12 games to end the season, plays the playoffs. Maybe hopefully gets like 20 games under his belt. Already has what, like 10 under his belt? So 30 games. You're like, okay, he's like ready to go. And then you can have Engstrom and Reinbacker on the right side next year. A young defense, I know, but might be how it goes. 1979. Exactly. Maybe there'll be another too many men tonight. Maybe Cole Caufield will score his 40th goal. Guy Lafleur did that a couple times, I'm pretty sure. Gooley and Hudson cost us Sunday's game. They're lousy. I mean, the reason why they're not a pairing tonight, they're a really bad pairing together. I don't know why. I guess because one of them is on their off D. Reinbacker could have been called up yesterday, according to TVA. Okay, so yesterday was the day. Yeah, the 16th. That sounds right. I was like, it's super soon, that date where they can like suddenly call somebody up. That makes sense. On a non-hockey note, go Venezuela, go. I have been this past weekend for baseball fans. Very angering and disappointing that Canada couldn't make it, and then the USA made it, and I was like, I'm my heart is too tender if the Americans win. I don't want them to win. Uh, I don't think it's good for the game. I just don't think it's good for the game of baseball if America wins. It's more fun when an international team wins. So would love to see Venezuela do it. Hey, we're about to start here. Have a good game, everybody. Yeah, it's all about Cole tonight. Can he get his 40th? Buffalo or Tampa will have a field day with our small players playoff time without Jack Eye. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, there might not be anything that we can do about Buffalo. They looked like giants compared to the Habs, with or without Jack Eye. Bonjour, bonjour. Schaefer's first game in Toronto. Hope the kid puts on a show. Well, certainly did. Oh my God, there's a penalty 25 seconds in. Oy, oy, oy. 4 minute. Opening minute. Opening minutes. Carrier high sticks Geno, and it's a 4 minute high stick. Good gracious. All right, well. On ice expected goals 5-on-5. Arbor's not that bad. Hey, we got a breakaway. Ah. Josh Anderson had like daylight. Like there was nobody anywhere near him. Kapanen with the pass, and then he went glove hand. It was a really nice shot, but Swayman was there. Blood meaning 4 minutes. Absurd rule. Yeah, I mean, only in hockey, eh? Oh, you're bleeding. More of a penalty. Harry says they're setting themselves up for another comeback, but it hasn't worked too well lately. Yeah, let's not do that tonight. Time to accidentally run to a Bruins forward. Good evening, Michael Paul. Happy Valentine's. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I can't believe we're already a month removed from Valentine's Day. Crazy. This is funny. Let's be honest. Nobody robs Anderson. His scoring touch is 0. That was a good shot, though. It was like a low, like below the glove. Hey, it wasn't a Chester from. It wasn't a Chester from Josh, at least. Was that at least? It was at least submitted to the glove hand. Wrong. Hey, Steve. By the way, wrong man to be on a breakaway. I'm afraid. Yeah. If the goalie was behind the net, Josh still wouldn't have scored. Oh my God, you guys are. Patrick Laine could help our power play. Power play went 0 for 7 on the weekend. What's stopping us from playing Patrick Laine? What do we got to do to see Pat in the lineup again? King Gooley is channeling his inner David Savard there. Well, he needs to channel his inner David Savard more. And the Canadiens, Matheson coughed it right back up to the Bruins forward. And it was at the worst possible time. This is disastrous. I mean, what an absolute terrible, terrible cough up. Pasternak kind of works his way around. And then it kind of hits Matheson and goes right to Zaka. That was brutal. Anderson went to the Arturi Lehkonen hockey school. Well, I don't know what hockey school Lehkonen's at now, but he seems to have mostly cured his scoring woe. Leaving the Canadiens. Usually good for helping your scoring woes. So the Bruins are up 1-0, and now they have another power play. And McAvoy just kind of felt like he's been shot, and I don't really know what happened to him. But then he hits a slapper, and he's A-okay. Jack Eye deserves ice time over Carrier. Yeah. I mean, honestly, if Jack Eye was right-handed, we would not be having this discussion. But Carrier is only one of 2 right-handed defensemen, so he gets to be in. Helps to play with Nate McKinnon. That's true. I'd probably score a dozen goals if I was playing with Nate McKinnon. Are we sure it's not Monty in nets tonight? Well, Dois just made a nice save, so. And it's already 7 shots for the Bruins. Ay, ay, ay. Pimp Vash, welcome back. Right on schedule, and happy St. Patrick's Day, by the way. 4-minute penalty, 25 seconds in the game. Anderson misses 49th breakaway of the year. Boston snaps an 0 for 13 PP skid, all in the first 2 minutes. Yeah, well, when you put it that way, not a great start to the game. I'll give you that. And Middlestat hits a post. Evans was kind of hooked on the way into that break, but they're not going to give it to him. Oh, Kelly, good evening. Good evening, Rick. Ryan says, where's the call on Evans? No call. This season, Boston's power play is 6 for 15 against the Habs. They don't have a very good power play otherwise, so I'm not really sure why they're so effective against the Habs. Okay, well, back to 5-on-5, at least. You can tell on their power play we are not confident defensively whatsoever. We concede so easily, and we have a really small defensive box, letting the team operate without any pressure. Well, we keep. I mean, it'd be good if you kept them to the outside, but the problem is that they can get the puck on the inside, which is not helpful. Bring out Arbor. This is bad. I know it's 8-2 in shots so far. Terrible. Top line, well rested, says Steve Frost. Yeah, haven't seen them much so far, eh? This is the last NHL team that can save the honor of Canadian hockey and not looking good lately. And man, and Edmonton is like on the cusp of not making the playoffs. And now Leon Draisaitl's gone for the rest of the regular season. All the hopes are in Canada right now. It's not looking good. Harry also agrees about the blood thing. I mean, it's super strange. I don't understand how this rule ever came to be. Like you determine the severity of a penalty based on how much a guy is bleeding. They would never accept that in a court of law. I think it's time to move on from Doc. Mark says, and we'll get to Doc tonight for sure. We'll talk a little bit about Doc. That's a glove pass. I think it's time to move on from yeah. His body is not made for the NHL. Too bad. He's talented, but too soft. Uh, yeah, we'll get to that in the intermission. All right, we can get to it now. Do you guys agree? Against a very tough team, Marty sits the only player that could fight back. Marty needs to go because if the Habs make the playoffs, he will hang everyone out to dry. Oof, I don't think we're at the Marty's got to go level yet because the team is still, playing pretty well. Uh, but if the team takes a step back, I mean, if they don't make the playoffs this year, I think anything's on the table. They'll be very disappointed. And Oh, Caufield, absolutely dancing behind the net. Can he find somebody, though? Ah, Dobson with a nice shot from the point. Yeah, Karen agrees. Kirby Doc is made of glass. Ryan also says made of glass. Skydigger, hey, welcome back, Skydigger. I don't see Doc staying as a Hab beyond this season. And even Homo Shalaga says, I'm sadly starting to be on your side. Yeah, I think it is done for Kirby Doc, barring, I don't know. The thing about Doc is that his qualifying offer is $4 million. I don't even think the Canadians will offer the $4 million. They're just going to let him walk. But because I mean, is anyone going to even trade for him, knowing that they have to pay him $4 million? The only way this maybe changes, I guess, you can pay him like a multi-year deal, like with a lower amount. But like, you really going to go through that trouble for Kirby Doc? Yeah, I have a feeling that at $4 million, man, I just can't see some team that's just so below the cap could use a guy. I don't even think so at this point. Very sad because yeah, I do think that when Doc plays, you can see like, oh yeah, there's a pretty good player in there, but it's too late. He was injured throughout junior. He's been injured throughout his NHL career. It's been like 8 or 9 years now of not being healthy, and I just, you know, you don't qualify him and sign him as a free agent at a lower rate. But like, if that's what happens, don't you think Doc would want to try somewhere else? He can see that the Canadians are pretty like stacked. I just have a feeling that that's just like not the like this won't be the place. Doc could blossom somewhere. Like Sean Monahan could blossom somewhere, not as a Hab. Kelly says, nothing against Doc, but I've said it before. In my opinion, you're in the lineup or you're not. It doesn't matter why. If you can't be counted, it's time to go in another direction. I agree. Pimpfash says kind of the same thing. Doc is done. Always loved his talent going back to junior. He just can't stay healthy, and some bodies are just not designed for contact sports or whatever you want to call it. As Mark says, he only played half his games. What are you going to do? Can't. Doc, Laine, Goulet have each missed 31% of their playing career, and that relates to 189 games with the average age of 25.7. Demographics tells you it's a loss in investment. Yeah, you can't really go long term on a guy who doesn't pay, which makes me think that I think Caden Goulet is absolutely a trade chip this offseason. Now, the Canadians would need to get size back on defense, but I could see them trying to get somebody right-handed and moving on from Goulet. That wouldn't shock me at all. Roger Parmar, bless his heart, was bang on about Kirby Duck. A hangnail signed line him for months. Look for Boston to throw some big hits tonight, especially McAvoy. There will be no answer. Pimvash says, Doc cheaper, why? That's a roster spot for someone who's just not reliable as a healthy option. Not to mention all the development miss. That's the thing, right? Like, I don't see even the reason to get him at a lower cost. He's just, either you think he's like any good or you don't. And somebody just got, McAvoy just took a knee. Yeah, this guy keeps taking his beatings against the Habs. Doc 2 to 4 weeks. Odd return time frame. Sounds like a bruised arm to me. Wait, what is a bruised arm? Do you mean a bruised arm or a bruised arm? Max, you'll have to explain to me what a bruised arm is. The NHL is a world of his own, and I think there's a market for Kirby Doc. Somebody's always going to give Kirby Doc a chance. Doc a chance. Kirby Doc a chance. He is a big dude with a lot of talent. Somebody's going to give him a chance. But at $4 million, what's going to happen is the Canadiens are going to try to trade him. No one will call. And then as soon as he becomes an unrestricted free agent, he's going to have 10 offers at like half that. Like 20 teams in this league will look at Kirby Dach at like 2 mil and be like, yeah, sure, whatever. Maybe you figure it out. Because Dach is big and you can't teach size. And he's always going to have that. But at this point, the Canadiens have like, there's a wide open net and the Canadiens can't bite. And now Boston's taking the puck down the ice. He's done. No one will want him, Max says. No, somebody's definitely going to want him. For sure. Someone will take a chance. A 2 mil, like 1 mil, 2 mil, someone will take a chance. Just not a 4 mil and just not as... Oh, what a goal. It's tied up at 1. Unbelievable goal by Nick Suzuki. He was right in front of the net, had no time and space, and just like flipped the puck over Swayman. What a beautiful goal. So there you go. We're tied up at 1. It's the 24th goal of the season for Nick Suzuki. After taking that knee on knee, Charlie McAvoy is back on the ice. He is nothing if not a warrior. Do you guys remember when he got his face rearranged in that game earlier in the season against the Habs? Took a puck to the mouth. How about it for the first line again? Oh! Wow. Another chance for the first line on that one. First line is buzzing. Other lines, not buzzing. First line is buzzing. Little stat from Sportsnet. Nick Suzuki has 17 points in his last 13 games against the Bruins. That's what you want to see against the Bruins. Right? I mean, it's basically playoff hockey at this point, right? Like, just play your Bulls. Get in the playoffs. See what happens. But at this point, The Habs can no longer afford to leave any more points on the table. They left up to 8 points on the table against the Sharks and Ducks in the last 2 weeks. Uh, think about what 8 points could be right now in the standings. And now they got two 4 pointers this week because they're playing against Boston tonight and Detroit tomorrow. Um, so you just don't want to leave these points on the table anymore. You got to do something. Oh, I do like the Leafs are wearing the St. Pat's jerseys today. I love it. You asked months ago if we thought the Habs would make the playoffs, and three of us said no. I still don't think they will. You don't think they're going to make the playoffs? You think what? The Columbus Blue Jackets are going to pass them? It would be. I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm saying that if the Canadians can't be better in the standings than the Bruins, Red Wings, and Columbus Blue Jackets and Senators, that is like they would be playing down so beneath their talent level. Like so much. This team is better than those teams. I don't know if you watch those teams that much. They are not that good. This Boston Bruins team is not that good. Canadians are better than them. They're okay. They're an okay team. But no, the Canadians have no excuse. Canadians have no excuse. They're better than these. They're better than these guys. If they don't make it, it's because they're just, I don't know. Maybe they are just coached badly and deployed a bad defensive strategy, a bad defensive scheme. Maybe that is why. But I don't know. I'd be pretty shocked if they didn't squeeze in. The Jackets aren't going to pass them. I don't think. By the way, it's up to 11-8 shots for the Habs. So the Habs were down. I think it was 8-2 at one point in shots. Rick says for them to be better, they need size, a defense, and a system. Homa says they're better, but they don't have enough gas in the tank. And Rick says they are indeed coached badly. Harry says they need to put a hot streak together. They're playing teams they need to beat. Oh, Carrier, really nice job finding Caufield alone in front of the net. And then Caufield gets twisted around a little bit in the corner. Crowd was definitely looking for a penalty there, but I didn't think there was one. Oh, it's always nice. I mean, Hampus Lindholm had a nice chance at the top of the slot there. But you always nice to see Dobish really come out and aggressively play those. After watching Montembeau really struggle on those beach ball shots from far away, Dobish really just like no nonsense comes out and plays those aggressively. He's confident that he's not going to give up like a bad rebound. I like it. Habs have done well on shots on goal since the 6 minute mark, which would make sense because that was the power play finished at about 5 minutes, right? Oh, Dobesh had the puck right in front of him, but why did they let? Oh man, who was that? Oh, here we go. Lindholm was left right in front of the net, man, to shoot a one time. It's like those are the kinds of shots that the defense really needs to be careful on. Like, why is a guy point blank from the net wide open that some guy from behind the net can make the easy pass like that? It happens way too often around here. Hey, Mark, good to see you again. Islanders play 10 of their last 12 at home. Seems like Columbus has won 20 in a row, but they have the second hardest schedule remaining. Habs play the Jackets twice. Well, that's a good point. Ultimately, it is in the Habs. The Habs can't say that they don't have a schedule that, you know, where it's out of their control. Like, this is in their control. They can beat the Bruins tonight. They can beat the Red Wings on Thursday. They can beat the Jackets the two times they play and solidify a spot in the playoffs. So if the Habs don't make it, there's no excuses. It's on them. If they don't make it, it's because they lost those games, basically. Hey, Carol, Carol. They need line A. I know they're over 7 on the power play over the weekend. Doc's not coming back, so now you got to spot it forward. Uh, you've put Gallagher back in the lineup, but literally 2 days ago, you made the very, very hard decision to not have him in the lineup. That band-aid has been ripped off. You can sit him now anytime you want. I think, I think it's time to bring Line A back. But who knows if there's more to that story, right? Wasn't it a couple years ago where they needed to beat Columbus to make the playoffs? Well, last year Columbus was the team that they were up against at the end. Uh, but yes, wasn't there a season where the Habs a few years ago where the Habs didn't make the playoffs because they lost to Columbus in the last day? Was that the year the Tatar Domi going crazy year? Didn't that happen that they just blew it at the end and Columbus passed them? Whose decision is it to not play Line A? It's got to be a mix of management and Marty. To me, this one goes a little bit above Marty. Even like I can't imagine that if Line A was perfectly healthy, management wouldn't say like, "Hey, you got to play him like at least a little bit." But he is a vet. That's the thing. The veterans are entitled to a little more. They are. That's just how life is. A little more. It's a little more than benching Bolduc, or Veleno. Obviously, Hugo sees what we all see, but what can be done to improve team defense in the off season? Well, I think Angstrom and Reinbacher are coming, but those are not. That's not necessarily the answer you want to hear, right? I think that I think there's a real chance that Gooley is a kind of player that they dangle in a trade and they get maybe somebody a little more suited for the right side. Somebody who can play with If they think, I mean, I like to think that they think that Reinbacher can play with Hudson. So then, what are you asking? Who plays with Matheson, basically? Which I guess would be Carrier in the short term, but in the long term, I don't know. Carrier's got 1 year left after this, so you hold on to him for 1 more year, and then you want to have a more permanent fix after that. One too many passes. Swayman with a nice save, but I think Kapanen had the initial shot there. What's everybody's thoughts on Reinbacher and Hage joining the Habs before the end of the season? I'm pretty convinced now that it's going to happen. After watching them make the move on Fowler and sitting Gallagher, I feel like the reason for the lack of activity at the deadline was a belief that they can make these changes from within. So I do think Reinbacher Engstrom gets in at some point, and then they have to sign. I mean, if Hage's season is done, it's going to cut it real close. He's going to play like a game, right? Because he's going to want to burn his contract. So that being said, I don't know if we'll see Hage. Like if they make the playoffs, I don't know if we'll see Hage much. Maybe. Rick says, bring them in, but it's not enough to change the course. Yeah, you don't want to put too much hype on either of those guys. Those guys aren't like Demidov good. Karen says Hage is more than ready. I haven't seen enough of him, but he definitely. I I didn't think at the World Juniors I saw a guy that was like, oh yeah, this guy's knocking at the door, but he's got the size and the skill. I don't think he'd be a pushover. Hage can help. Reinbacher will be an invisible liability. I'm the first person to tell you guys that Reinbacher had a really disappointing season up until a point, but he's been very good for Laval in the last like 3 weeks or so. So I think they're back on track with him. And they're not gonna want to wait too long if he's ready to go. Canadians are gonna go on the power play. Mark would love to see Hage. I mean, I think you'll. I mean, unless I don't know the exact schedule. I know it cuts it real close. Like if they make the Frozen Four and then they make the final, it's gonna be a situation where I think he's gonna have like 1 day to sign, come over and play the last game and burn that entry level. But he's gonna want to burn the entry level, so it's gonna happen. Bull Duke with the nice finishing his check, and then he just took a glove to the mouth, basically. Okay. First Habs power play coming up. Hage has fire burning him to play here. It's in his DNA. He does come across as an extremely passionate player, which I think is exciting. I think he's going to be good for the fan base for sure. Skydigger says, let's assume for a minute that the Habs make the playoffs. Who are the Habs' black aces? I mean, the guys they have right now, right? Veleno, Line, I guess. Doc will be back, and I don't know if Doc will play. So Doc would be one maybe. And then Struble and I think Jack Eye. And I think one of Engstrom or Reinbacher is going to take a top 6 spot here. Suzuki was definitely looking to set up Caufield there to get his 40th, but didn't quite work out. All right, we're a minute into this power play. And just some real gnarly passing at the blue line from the Habs. They're totally out of sorts right now. Okay, well, first period's over. 47 seconds left in the power play. This period was about as even as you can get, because not only was it 1-1, I think they were even in shots. Even they were 13-13. Yeah, 13-13 in shots. All right. Well, we're gonna start with the very obvious intermission question here. Are they gonna make the playoffs? You tell me. Okay, let's get a little bit of commentary in here. Mark says it was a fun period. It was good intensity. Yeah, it was a good period. Rick says, before we get into the Habs stuff, Doug Armstrong leaves his post as GM of Team Canada. I thought he did okay. I mean, it's kind of a weird job because you're just like picking among the best of the best, but they didn't win, so it's time for somebody else to see if they can win. Canada Cup they announced, not Canada Cup. Sorry, it's the World Cup now. It's not the Canada Cup, but they will be playing games in Edmonton and Calgary. So let me know if you guys are going to go check any games out. If you're interested. PimFat says the PP has fallen off a cliff. Other teams have figured it out. Just a little pressure on the sidewall, and we give it up. I know that's why is Line the answer? Is it time to bring back Patrick Line and his big shot, and hopefully he moves a little faster than last time because his knee's better? I don't know. We'll see. They will be demolished by bigger, aggressive Buffalo while Jackeye watches from the press box. So that's a yes. They're making the playoffs, but they won't make it past first round. If PP keeps struggling, I would consider Line. He can swap with Texier or Bolduc, not like they're defensive specialists themselves. Anyway, yeah, that's a potential good. Oh, we have more power play stuff. The scrolling keeps. Da, 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 da. Okay. Mark says, I still think the Habs will make the playoffs. Don't have a lot of faith in them going far, but they should be there. Karen says, yes, they're making them. Skydigger says, yes, they're going to make the playoffs. Rick Woods says, no, nada, niet, no. Ryan Katz says, our PP needs line A stat. Pimp says, I hope they make it for the experience. They need it, but this team's a long way from contender. No physicality, poor defense, goalie's not there yet. Need to bring in some more talent. Yeah, they're not a cup contender yet, for sure not. But they have a nice core. That core has made the team one of the best offensive teams in the league, but there's still a work in progress with a lot more to get done here. Harry says it's going to be close. They should make the playoffs, but then again, they should have beaten the Sharks and the Ducks. Yeah, it's a good point. Those were games with some playoff implications in a way, and it didn't work out. Mark says too many passes on the PP. Yeah, they need to shoot a little more. I'd like to see Dobson shoot a little. Oh, he's on the second pairing, but I'd like to see Dobson shoot a little more. With Doc out, Laine can play. Skydigger says, yeah, it's going to be close. How's Patrick Laine? Rick Woods answers correctly. 27. Max says it's a 50-50 shot they make the playoffs. The Coyotes asks, do you think their defense will stop them from making the playoffs? Well, if they don't make the playoffs, it's because of the defense. Yes. I do think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they have enough runway here, and I think that the teams behind them are not that amazing, that I do think they're going to make the playoffs, and I think they're going to make the playoffs not on the last weekend. I think they'll seal it up a little bit before that. But if they don't win tonight and they don't win Thursday, then they're definitely going to put themselves on their back foot, and it's going to be really bad. Could be bad for them, but I think they're going to make it. But if they don't make it, it's because the defense and goaltending completely caved in. Eric, I think they'll make it, but the PPS come back ASAP, or maybe not. Special teams always important, but they have to execute down the stretch. There's really this power. I mean, the power play is still, I don't know where it's ranked, but it's been ranked pretty consistently in the top 10 this year. But like, the power play has not been consistent. When it's lighting up, they're winning hockey games because of it. And then they go through these stretches where the power play just gets figured out. Again, I think it's just like a youth thing, playing by the book a little too much, not using their creativity enough, not shooting enough. The defense and bottom six will cost them a playoff spot, Rick says. Yes, the bottom six is... which makes unfortunate that Kirby Dach is hurt again, because he was actually starting to find his place on the third line. I thought he was finally looking kind of comfortable there. Pierre McGuire says the PP is trying to be too slick. Yeah, there's a lot of passers and not a lot of shooters there, I guess. But Pinfesh says, I know people want Jack Guy because he's big and he hits, but his defensive play and gap control are literally awful. He's not tremendously mobile, so he gives him a lot of space to compensate. That is the trade-off with Jack Guy. Weirdly enough, I find him to be mobile with when he has the puck, I'm like, oh, he can move pretty well. But then when he doesn't have the puck, I'm like, oh yeah, he really gets like caught on his feet a lot. Lack of defense. Marty only plays offensive-minded D-men. Well, those are his best ones, I think, is how he probably feels about it. Darcy Barnes says, a nice recovery after the 4-minute penalty. That is something to keep in mind, that they did put themselves in a terrible position early in the game with the 4-minute penalty to Carrier. Gave up a power play goal. We're down 1-0. But then they played pretty well the rest of the period. So what's wrong with the defense, Rick Wood says. We have Dobson, Matheson, Hudson, Struble, Carrier, Gooley. Yeah, it's kind of funny. I feel like individually, I like all those defensemen and what they bring to the table. As a group, there's something kind of funky about it. I mean, the big funky thing right now is that they don't have a second pairing guy for the right side. So they have like Dobson, and then whoever's the lefty playing with them is the top pairing. Whoever plays with Carrier is the third pairing. And then they have this middle pairing where they're putting two lefties together, and they have not found a combination that works. Matheson cannot play the right side. Gooley cannot play the right side. So you naturally have to put Hudson on the right side, who's not as good on the right side, but like has to take his lumps. But then you're taking your best defenseman and you're making him not as good to satisfy a hole in your lineup. This is why calling up Reinbacher, as like crazy as it sounds, is probably the way to go, because he would be ostensibly replacing nobody. Like, he would be replacing this giant hole in their lineup that has, like, not been satisfied. So then, if you have Reinbacher, you can play Hudson with him. And Reinbacher just needs to like sit there and not screw up, and you're in pretty good shape. You're already in better shape because Hudson will be on the left side. Then Matheson can play with Dobson, and that's fine. You give up a little on the defensive side, but they push play a lot. It's fine. And then the third pairing is Goulet Carrier, which can be your shutdown pairing. Shutdown pairing. And maybe you can even put Jack, and then maybe you can put Jack-Eye with Goulet, because suddenly you've got two right-handed defensemen, and then you feel like, okay, maybe like Carrier can take a night off. That's the like. That's, I think, why you call up Reinbacher. Dobson and Mike are not good defensively. Hudson is small. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but like, Dobson and Mike are, I think, they play a style of They're not shutdown guys, but by virtue of like moving the puck, like, yes, like the puck is not hemmed in, like the puck is not hemmed in the zone. Like when if the puck is hemmed in the zone, then there's a problem. Rick Wood says Maxime Lapierre has an English podcast. Sure does. Great podcast presentation that has Tony going crazy. I know Maxime has like, yo, who's putting up the. I mean, Max made some good money in the NHL, but he's putting up the scratch. It's a beautiful production. Nothing but love to Maxime Lapierre, and best of luck to him. And if he wants to appear on Hockey Inside Out, he knows our number. He can call us. Would love to have him on as a guest. His English is apparently great, and I didn't even know that. Okay, we got lots of defense stuff here. Hold on. Goulet hasn't been good since his return from his last injury. Agreed. He has been awful since the break, and I think he's been awful pretty much all year. Really just not impressed with him this year. I don't know if he's hurt or just not developing well. Mark says we need 4 Clydesdales. Not going to happen. Those guys just don't exist any. Those guys are throwbacks. There aren't many of them left out there. Maybe you can get one of them. You can get one type of guy like that, but maybe you can convince Parayko to come over, but I don't know. That type of defense, I don't know if it exists anymore. It would be way too hard to get something like that. Marty is too offensive minded. I mean, they are one of the best offensive teams in the league. It has brought them to where they are. The question is, does there need to be, as Stu put today, by the way, in his column, you guys should read it. Stu asked the question, is there like some give and take here that Marty needs to play, where he needs to scale back the offense to help the defense? Darcy says Reinbacher is NHL ready. We shall see. I think we shall see shortly. Max says, I think we're overplaying Hudson too much, and it's hurting his defensive side. Some very questionable decisions at times defensively. Yeah, Hudson is paid to play offense. I think his defense is pretty underrated, though, but I do think he's been playing on his right side, and he's been playing with not great partners. And he's playing with Struble tonight. Like, come on. Mark says, I don't think Goulet has ever been that good. I think when he came in the league, he looked pretty solid. I think some holes in his game have developed over time, but I think he's still pretty solid. We got a happy St. Patrick's. Defense is just as much about our forwards as the D-men. The defense starts by forechecking hard and making Neutral Zone a nightmare. We are atrocious at the ladder. It's a red carpet into our end. Yes, that is true. We are not a very... the adherence, it's not just a defense thing. It's definitely like a whole team thing. He also says, Goulet is good and will get better. He gets ping-pong from the left to right side and back again. That's on Hugo. They need the personnel to balance the roster. Agreed. And that's why I think Reinbacher, even if he's not like 100% ready, is still worth calling up. Because he'll put everyone else in their right slot. And so everybody else will play better. And then you just need Reinbacher to be like, okay. You don't need him to be amazing out of the gate. But Max also says, I don't know what people think Reinbacher would do at the big club. I think they would like to keep him in Laval until next year. I think he might be a bit overwhelmed with the call up this year. It would be a bit, considering how much time he's lost due to injury, it would be a big risk to call him up. It would be. He's never played in the NHL. That is fair. Hudson is fast. Maxime does English interviews on TVA. On TVA? Hockey with an accent offers prizes. I did win the first. I wish I could give you guys prizes. No prizes here. I'm sorry. I didn't make Maxime Lapierre money in my previous career. There are no prizes. Maybe we can get a sponsor who can give you a prize. You know what? It's funny. I've worked at publications where I have been responsible for the prizes, and I'll tell you this: taking the address and sending out the prize and all that jazz is a lot of work. It's fun in games to have like prizes to give out and be like, oh, I got prizes. But if you don't have somebody who can do the distribution of the prize for you, if it's not like a email prize where I'm just like emailing you a gift certificate, even then it's kind of weirdly hard sometimes. But it is kind of a strange thing. McGuire also stated that the forwards are cheating too much for the offense, which hurts defensively in their own zone. Yeah, because I think that's part of the strategy, right? They have the mobile defensemen who their job is to bring the puck up the ice. Like they want to create the quick transition. So I think that the cheating for the offense is like intentional. And that's where the like Stu Cowan thing comes in, where it's like maybe they bring the defense back and they give up a little offense to help the defense. David Savard with his wife on RDS. Love David Savard. I'm so happy he's still with the organization. Mark says I'm the prize. Well, not a great prize. I'm sorry that I'm the prize. Very kind of you, though. Very kind of you. But yeah. But yeah, if you're asking me, I do think that we will see Reinbacher or Engstrom before too long. I don't know when Engstrom's coming back, by the way. Don't ask me. I don't know. I think about like a week, hopefully. Jared Drager writes that Kadri was close to being a Hab. The problem was how much they had to eat on the remaining years of the contract. Yeah, I find that hard to believe. I just find it hard to believe that that was what they were going after, unless Calgary was willing to give them away. I don't know. That contract is nasty, nasty, nasty. If he takes any step back, that contract's a mess. Because Colorado doesn't care because they want to win now. They want to win this year. Okay, 40 seconds left on the power play, by the way, because we're back. Oh my God, Carrier is useless, Scoy George says. Yeah, he's would be better suited as a pretty chill third defenseman on the right side. Bring up Reinbacher. We got another Reinbacher. Savard says they have to tighten up the defense. Well, he's there. He can do something about it, right? Ah, Caufield had a lot of room on the point there to take a nice shot. I felt like he held back a little, looking for the screen instead. And then now he's in front of the net, and tried to bat home the rebound on the Slavkovsky shot. Power play's over, but they got a couple chances at the end. But the Canadiens are now 0 for their last 8 on the power play in their last 3 games. So not impressive right now. All right, let me know what you think then. Would you call up Reinbacher? Yes or no? It's now 17-13 in shots. It's been 4 shots, 17-14 now. So it's 4-1 in shots for the Habs since the period started. All right. Rick says yes. Call up Reinbacher. Couldn't hurt. Karen also says yes. Karen watches the Rockets, so Karen knows. Karen knows better than I do. Then I watched like a little bit of the Rockets. I don't watch like a ton of the Rockets, but I do read a lot about the people who do watch the Rockets, and they say that Reinbacher has turned his season around dramatically in the last like month or so. Michael Paul says, I really don't like that drop back breakout. Lots of teams do it. Seems like it's wasting man advantage time. I know. I feel like they stopped doing it at the start of the season and then immediately started doing it again. Mark says, it blows my mind that people pay a fortune for tickets and aren't in their seats to begin the period. It's crazy. You know what? Sometimes you just misgauge the line, Mark. I've done that before where I was pretty sure I had enough time to grab a popcorn and a pee, and then there was just a line, and I just got tangled up in the line. Homo Hochelaga says, yes, bring him back. We need a spark to work on all cylinders. Harry says, yeah, long lines at the snack bar. Sometimes you just don't know. Michael Paul says, yes, why not bring up Reinbacher? Pimfesh says, Bolduc with an open shot, but stick handles and delays forever until Boston player can easily block. Again, let's hit it best. Better to shoot fast than to wait for perfection. You know what, Pimfash? Chris Kreider, I was listening to a podcast of him in the off season. Um, the season he scored 40 goals. They asked him, what the hell happened? You're like 32 years old, and then suddenly you scored 40 goals again. And he said that he watched a bunch of tape, uh, did a bunch, worked with some analytics guys, and they were just like, if you stand in this spot and shoot, you have a higher percentage chance of scoring. So he just went into that spot, and then as soon as he got the puck, he didn't even wait. He just shot. He didn't even look at where the goalie was. And it turned out he was right. More often than not, the goalie wasn't ready, and he scored. And it was because he didn't think about it. He just went to the spot and shot. That's what Bolduc needs to do. Mark, that's because they fainted at the concession prices and standing pricing. Takes time to snap out of it. I know, it's crazy. It's so expensive. Pinfash says, I'm a season ticket holder, and honestly, just taking a leak at the Bell Center takes the entire intermission. The Bell Center is woefully behind in amenities. I know. It's a 30-year-old arena now. It's old. Lots of empty red seats. Yeah, I wonder how many people celebrated St. Patrick's Day a little too hard before coming to the game. Because it's sold. I mean, the game is sold out. Just, you know, people don't roll up. People don't roll up sometimes. Watching Geeky shoot. Yeah, I think Geeky's got a little bit of that. He's not a guy who looks like he'd be like a great shooter or anything, but he's managed to become one of the better goal scorers in the league overnight. Harry says, I remember attending Expos games at the Big O. Ladies would often use the men's room as the turnover was faster. Yeah, I don't think I have a. I mean, I was a kid when I went to the Big O, so I could hold my peas in a little longer, but I very rarely would go to the bathroom at the Big O. The lineup was too long for me, so I would just be like, pee before the game, pee after the game, I'm fine. I was also like not 20 yet, so or not 18 yet, so I wasn't. I was drinking my 40 ounce before going to the game. I never actually drank at the game. Let passes with the hand go, Mark says. Yeah, there's some like weird rules that still exist that are kind of strange about like hand passing and things like that. Oh! Jake Evans with the nice give and go with Texier. But the pass was just a little long for Texier in front. Oh! Bolduc twirled around with a hit, but he's good. Kind of a weak play across along the boards by the Habs, but then the Bruins immediately gave it back up. See, and that's what Texier is really good at. Zone entry, beat his man, was able to find somebody else coming in, the trailer coming off the rush. He's just so good at stick handling in the offensive zone. Molson's in a pinch. He can build a new arena, but he's committed to expanding the resources here, including a mini casino. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Bell Center is still a big moneymaker for them. I think the possibility for me is, I think as an arena, it's probably going to stick around for a while. For as a concert venue, it's a little tricky. I don't find it's bless their hearts. I know they spend so much money to like retrofit that place for concerts, but I definitely find it the arena shows its age much worse at a concert than it does at a hockey game. Hockey game's still a great experience. Cramped hallways, but a nice experience. But you go to a concert at the Bell Center compared to a new arena, and you can tell the difference. You can really tell the difference. Ah, it's 2-1. Zaka again. Totally forgotten. This was kind of a play that sort of came out of nowhere here. So the Bruins on the zone entry. And why is Zaka? And you're like off the rush here. Like you're off the rush here. Like how are you missing a guy? How are you letting a guy come right by you? I don't understand that play at all. Horrible. Free behind the D. I know, Kelly. What the heck, eh? Harry says the same thing. Wide open. Michael Paul. No defense at all. Pimfash says, so easy. Our defense is so bad. Max, Kapanen and Hudson completely mystified on that goal. Pimfash says that nothing play. Yet another opponent just having coffee in the offensive zone. Not a Hab inside. I can't believe Zaka was just wide open like that. It isn't as if anyone can actually push him away. Both just standing there in the high slot. You can't blame Arbor for that one tonight. You sure can. Man-to-man is absolutely useless as a system. The game moves too fast. That was a perfect example. Hudson and Kapanen both go for the same guy. Harry says, two Habs D turn to face the same Bruins. Zacha's left all alone. Do they talk to each other on the ice? Okay, so, I mean, you guys all see what the heck happened there. What the heck happened there? There's 16 games, still the playoffs. And you're still making mistakes like that. It's crazy. Like, it's crazy. Like, I think I'm going crazy. Like, I'm literally going crazy tonight. Like, these are the kind of things that you think, like, ought to be shored up at this point, no? Hudson and Kapanen didn't have the forward, and they didn't have the trailer. Just the middle of the ice, doing nothing. Defense, no matter what is said, is on Marty and the system, period. David Savard was great for that, talking to his partner. Michael, you can't push him out if you're not there. That's a good point. Pimp says, hey, enough with Arbor. He's not Lidstrom in the press box. His defensive play this season by any metric has not been good. Michael says, we have no defensive defensemen. Not in the classical sense, that's for sure. But those kind of defensemen are few and far between in the league at this point. Like, they're just not that many. So the question is, what are the Habs? Guys like Gooley and Reinbacher were supposed to kind of bridge that gap. Like, guys that still have the movement but can play a defensive style. Remains to be seen. Bob says, 71 years ago tonight, March 17th, 1955, was the famous Richard riot. What was Clarence Campbell thinking? That's a good point. He was not reading the papers, that's for sure. Rick says, so now you see why I said known yet. No, I still think they're a playoff team. They're too good on offense to not make the playoffs. They'll make the playoffs. I don't know if they'll... I mean, they're probably going to have to face one of Buffalo or Tampa in the first round, which is, I think, not an advantageous matchup for them. But no, I think they're a playoff team. You guys should watch, like, Texier with the steal, and he handed a gift to Evans. Evans could not tuck it home, though. Nah, you guys need to watch some of these teams more. Like, Boston and Detroit are not, these guys are not playing, like, airtight defense off either, and they're not very good scoring teams. I'm not that worried about these guys, but the Canadiens can play their way out of the playoffs for sure. But come on, offensive zone penalty for the Habs. Yeah, I mean, a high stick in the offensive zone, not great. Pimp says, Habs literally have AHL level defense. They look confused and disjointed, and it's too easy for teams to play against us. I mean, they're playing like a pretty bad defense. They're not AHL level, but I know what you mean. They're definitely, I mean, they're in the bottom 10 of allowing goals this year, so they are pretty bad for the league. But I think the personnel, I think they have some decent personnel there. We've talked about the aforementioned lack of balance and the fact that they could probably use one more heavy guy, but yeah, they just seem to, like, I mean, they're not improving, which I think is the huge red flag here. Bob was only 6 months old when the Richard riot happened. Well, that's not an excuse for missing it. You missed history, Bob. Arminio, hey Arminio. Boston ties guys up at the net. We can't do too often. Nice clear by Gooley. We're in the final minute here. Rick says Struble did okay guarding his man. Watch what he does. He stops to play the puck and loses the battle. That doesn't sound good at all. Bob asks the important question here: are defensive woes the result of our talent or our system? Here, I'm going to leave that one up for a little while. I want you guys to answer because I want you guys. Is this a coaching problem or is this a personnel problem? I thought Suzuki had a nice chance there, and he ended up passing it back to Struble, who did not really take care of that one. Okay, what do we got yet? What do we got here? Michael says system, but with a question mark. So he's like, system? Karen's more emphatic. System. Rick says system. Mark says system. Okay. So we're all feeling like pretty decent about the personnel and feeling a little less good about the system. What system? I see what you mean. Well, the man on man system, or nonsense as you call it. Yeah, Tanner Janot like literally sat on a guy, and then the Habs like started to leave the zone, and it led to a basically a 3-on-0. What a ridiculous play. Canadians are just totally flustered right now. Karen's in. Drink in hand. Happy St. Patrick's. And the gummies by your side. Ooh, I think I have some gummies too. Let's see where the night takes us. Arminio says it's a little bit of both. The guys are talented, but there's not enough size or robustness. Karen says the Habs are at a 33% win probability right now. That's not good. Karen says they need grit. I think most people would agree with that, and that they need sandpaper. Rick says, at the mention at the beginning of the season, the hands down favorite on odds to win the calendar was Demidov. His profile of success had the odds in favor of him. Today, he sits in an atrocious plus 31. Well, I will attribute that. He's had a good year, but I will attribute that to also Matthew Schaefer having a historically good year for a defenseman. It's very rare for a defenseman at any time to score 20 goals, let alone in a rookie season. I believe he's the first to do that. Kelly Morgan says, with D, it's hard to figure out because Hudson made two big mistakes in back to back games. Not sure if that's a systemic or just mental errors. And then Hudson, nice chance coming down the right wing with a shot. There was a screen in front and everything, but couldn't quite pick through the screen. Oh, what a nice steal by Struble. But is he going to make anything happen? Demidov's making a lot of poor plays lately, Mark says. Yeah, that is. He's definitely, he's fading, I think. And with him, hey! How did that go in? A big line by the Vets. Josh Anderson looks like he's getting credited with the goal. I mean, some great work behind the net by Gallagher and Dano. The defense, I mean, Hudson shaking and baking. And then he just finds some room. What a tip in. What a warrior. Joshy Anderson. What a tip in. Beauty. Josh Anderson's the kind of guy you expect to come up for a big game like this. Oh, and then Swayman gets twisted over, and there was a chance there. Mark says, I like Andy. He works so hard. I love seeing him score. Homo Schlager says, I'm just after I'm back walking the dog. Yeah, my dog is fast asleep tonight. God, he was barking so much on Saturday. Eh? What a pain in the butt. What a pain in the butt that guy is. Love me some Galley. Karen said, yeah, he's has still has it. Still has the grit, Harry says. Oh, yeah, what's the status of the Josh Anderson jersey? Is it in the hamper? Is it out of the hamper? No, you don't have it tonight. No, yes. Andy's better at the tip in than than the breakaway. Rick Wood says, yeah, makes up for the breakaway. That's funny. I forgot about the breakaway already. Karen says the Canadiens will be re-signing Anderson at a discount. He has 1 year left on his deal, and then he's a free agent. And I think he likes being here. And um, the Canadiens are not going to not need his size in a year. Yeah, I think that's a very good possibility. What a strange contract that one ended up being. I think it was such a maligned contract that it was so much money. He's not scoring and this and that. And $5.5 million doesn't buy you what it used to buy. Which that's the reason why you lock in these guys, right? You lock in these guys early because even at a what seems like an inflated value, because by the end of the deal, um, inflation kicks in, and then 5.5 is not that much to spend on a gritty bottom sixer like Josh Anderson, who throws a lot of hits and can score, a few goals in that process. I still think McAvoy would fit nicely in our blue line. Can skate, shoot, and is very tough and is a great teammate. I would put Charlie McAvoy in a small group of guys who are going to play their career with one team. I would be so shocked if McAvoy ever moved. They love him. He is like the quintessential Boston player. And Boston has kept, they kept Krejci, they kept Bergeron, they're keeping Pasternak, even though there's been rumors over the years about Pasternak. And I think McAvoy is just part of that tradition. And he must be resigned. He's very valuable. Yeah, there's not. He fits a very specific role for this Habs team that no one else can. So was Brad Marchand. Yeah, that's a good point. Brad Marchand looked like he was going to be a lifer too, and it ended up not happening. So you never know sometimes, eh? So was Ray Borg. Yeah, but Ray Borg only went to Colorado at the end of his career. That barely counts. So was Carrier. Wait, which Carrier? Am I forgetting somebody here? Alexandre Carrier? No, he wasn't. He wasn't a Nashville lifer. Oh, Josh Anderson cutting through, but had the puck poked away from him at the last second. Another high stick. Our Carrier. A lifer? No, he was not a lifer. Not that I remember of. Yes, that is the classic, right? If Gretzky can be traded, anyone can be traded. That's true, but I would not. I would not count on McAvoy going anywhere anytime soon. If Boston really goes in the shitter and then they got to move somebody, sure, anything's possible. But I think as long as they got a shot at winning, they're gonna keep McAvoy. Well, this one's a little dangerous because um, Deneau got a slashing penalty, so the Bruins are on the power play now. But as you guys, of course, know, Deneau is one of the bigger face-off guys that they've got on the PK, so it's going to be big time on Evans to try to get them through this. Think Larry Robinson, Serge Savard for Montreal. Yeah, but I will say that Montreal doesn't have the best record of holding on guys. I would say. I would never put any of the Habs as like lifers in the same way. I feel like Boston's feel like Boston has a little better record at that than the Habs. How many Habs lifers have we had in like the past little while? Markov, who we sent home. Gallagher, who I think there's a good chance he might end his career somewhere else. Offensive zone penalties are a killer. They are the worst. Or are they all offensive zone penalties tonight? The Matheson one was. So was this one. Price? No, he's a San Jose Shark, don't you know? Plays for the Sharks. They should bring him back. If they make the playoffs, they should bring him back. No, they could do that, I guess. If you're on LTIR, they can bring you back, I guess, in theory. Pim says, you'd think the Bruins would have heavier legs as the game goes on, because I guess they played last night, right? So giving all these power plays is ridiculous. It's giving them a way out. Yeah, the Canadiens really gotta get out of penalty trouble here. Danault is a total waste of money, in my opinion, Mark says. Yeah, they kind of need him for the face-offs. He has lost a step, though, I will say. He's definitely not the guy who left Montreal. But he's put up decent numbers as like a... I mean, he's overpaid for a third, fourth center, but... Look, they needed a left-handed center to win face-offs, and he is that guy. Bergevin didn't have much loyalty except for Galley. Yes, Bergevin famously said, if you want loyalty, buy a dog. Exactly what you want to hear from your boss. Oh, yeah, you guys are talking about Pulp Fiction. There's so many movies from like 40 years ago that I haven't watched that 30 years ago I should watch. Not That's not one of them. I was on a Tarantino kick when I was younger and would watch all his movies. All right, we got 2 minutes left in the second period. 15 seconds left in the power play. And once again, Carrier's got to make a great stick block there, but there were two Bruins behind the Habs. You're on the PK. You should literally just be parking your butt in front of the net. How are you letting two guys by you? Ving Rhames worked out in my gym for years in Toronto. Was he filming? I guess. What was he filming in Toronto, or did he live in Toronto? Karen reminds us all that the baseball game is underway. Go Venezuela. Let me know who you guys are rooting for. Oh, Canadians with a nice chance, but Slavkovsky trying to feather one over Lori and doesn't get it done. But the Canadians are still, with a minute left now, pretty ensconced in the Bruins zone. Can they get something done? Problem is now you got Struble on these like pretty big moments. Is that a high stick or a penalty? I feel like that's a high stick. Yes, that was a high stick. 10 days until MLB opening day. Unbelievable, Bob says. I am really, really not confident in the Giants this year. I am awaiting the opening day with a mix of excitement and mostly a lot of dread. I don't think they're going to be very good. I don't think the Giants have the pitching this year. They are counting on a lot of young guys, and one of them already needs Tommy John, and the other one can't find the strike zone, and they didn't really pick up any veterans to back them up. So they're screwed in my opinion. Ving had a home on Shelburne Street in Rosedale because he shot so many movies in Toronto. Oh, that's nice. I love Ving Rhames in the Mission Impossible movies. Okay, second period is just about over here. Once again, this is a very even game. It's 2-2. Josh Anderson, your goal scorer for the Habs in the second period. And then in shots, it's 21-20 Bruins. So this is anybody's game still, which is maybe to be expected, I guess. Right? Ryan says the Canadians need to tire out the Bruins in the third period. They should have the legs. As Pimp said, you'd think the Bruins would be more prone to the heavier legs as the game goes on, but they will play opportunistic. Habs really need to limit defensive mistakes or they will give this one away. And I think that's the operative word here. Again, I feel like this is the game that the Canadians ought to win. I think the Canadians are a better team than the Bruins. They're at home. Bruins are playing back to back. I think everything is kind of set up in a way that the Habs ought to win this game. And, right now it's 2-2 because they made an absolutely boneheaded move in transition. And Pavel Zacha got behind two guys and was able to score. All right. Intermission question. Would you play Patrick Laine on Thursday? Is it time? Is it time to bring him back? This is assuming that he is healthy and ready to go, which, as far as we know, he is. I'm on record as saying I would bring Laine back. I would probably scratch. Problem is, if you're doing that, you're scratching Texier, right? You're not scratching. No, I'd scratch Bolduc. I'd still scratch Bolduc. He hasn't scored in forever. Yeah, I would scratch Bolduc. He hasn't scored in what 25 games, something like that. 27 games. Not even sure how that's. Not even sure how that's possible. I was almost surprised when I heard it. I was like, oh, he's been contributing on offense, but I guess he hasn't been. Okay. Got some answers here. Ryan says if our power play is powerless, then yes. And then yes, because they're 0 for their last 8. Rick says yes, but something does not add up as to why he hasn't. Yeah, that's fair. It does seem a little strange, doesn't it? Columbus beating Carolina. You mean Columbus, right? Playing for Johnny. They do seem pretty motivated to make the playoffs. I would worry if I were the 2 wildcard teams right now. Max says no to Line A. Bob says we need to revamp our power play, so stick Line A out there for a trial. Kelly says no. Difficult and important stretch to insert a player who hasn't seen game speed in forever and has proven to be less than responsible defensively. Yes, he would not fix the defensive woes on this team. Mark says no to Line A. Karen wants Patrick in the lineup. We're treating him very poorly. So lots of running the gamut on thoughts with Patrick Laine. I feel like everybody's definitely lots of people want him in, lots of people don't want him in. I don't know. I'm inclined to put him in, but I do agree with Kelly's point that it is like late in the season to reincorporate somebody in here. So I don't know why it's gone down the way it has, but I've got to assume that Line A deserves a chance to shine. Like, yeah, like why isn't he playing? I don't know. It's such a strange situation. So we're still waiting on Cole Caufield to score his 40th goal of the season. He's at 39 right now. Vincent D'Anfous is the last Montreal Canadien to score 40 in 93-94. And piece in the Gazette today where he says he is very excited to not be that guy anymore. He's very happy to have somebody else on the Habs score 40 goals that is not him. So hopefully that happens soon for Cole Caufield, and I'm sure Habs fans are hoping that it happens tonight. We also have 900 games for Brendan Gallagher. Pretty remarkable given, he was a late round pick. Nobody expected anything of him. He's had an amazing career, and he's hoping to extend his career a little bit longer. I'm not even going to ask. I was thinking about asking, but there's literally zero chance that I think Gallagher plays 1,000 games with the Habs unless something happens. But he needed to play every game this year and next just to hit 1,000. And he got scratched, so now that chance is over. But, I mean, if we're being real, the chances of him hitting 1,000 were very unlikely. Anyway, Mark says we've got enough defensive problems as is without adding the biggest defensive liability we have, which is Laine. Yeah, and that might just be why he's not here. Homa says yes, put Laine in, but then pull him out right away if it's not working. Yes, he would have a pretty short hook. I don't think they would let him cook that long. Yeah. Dobie for the Calder. It's funny. On a lesser year, Dobesh might get some consideration, but he won't. He won't this year. But the Canadiens are fortunate. They have 3 guys who are probably, I guess, going to be in the top 10 or so in rookie voting, and Dobesh, Demidov, and Kapanen. And then next year, there's a real possibility that maybe Fowler, and then maybe even Reinbacher or Engstrom could potentially be, or Hage could be in the mix for the Calder. So the Canadiens, probably a good sign that you're developing players. The fact that they're Calder nominated, or in the case of Hudson, Calder winning. Oh. If you guys have a chance to watch it later, two of the league's true heavyweights, Nick Delorier and Matthew Olivier, had a nasty fight in the Columbus Carolina game. Oh my goodness. If you guys have a chance to watch that later. Here, if I put the link here, would you watch the link here? Yeah, I put the link in here. You can watch it. Here, you can watch the here's the fight if you want to see the Matthew Olivier Nick Delorier fight. Heck of a fight in the Carolina Columbus game. My goodness. I'm a little surprised I didn't hear more from y'all about Delorier being traded at the deadline. I thought some of you might ask if about Delorier coming to the Habs, but I guess you guys kind of know the score with Delorier. I mean, the guy can fight, no doubt about it, but can he even play 5 minutes at this point on the ice, 5 on 5? I'm not so sure. Mark says I'd consider using line A only on the PP, but I don't think teams really do that kind of thing. No, we don't. It's not like hockey coaches definitely don't look at this like baseball, like a situation, like a designated hitter or something. Line A at this point is a designated hitter. Rick Wood says best prospect for the Habs is Pascal Vincent. Um, man, I mean, he seems happy in Laval, and he seems like okay with knowing that he's like the coach in waiting, knowing that Marty might be around a while. He seems cool with it, but if I'm another team, but there's so many teams that are gonna fire their coaches this off season, right? Like Toronto's gonna fire their coach, uh, Vancouver again probably. Edmonton's probably going to give up again. Like, so many teams are going to fire their coach, man. You'd be crazy to not look at Pascal Vincent. Pascal Vincent is absolutely, to me, like, proven that he's, you know, totally deserving of another chance. I mean, he totally got screw jobbed in Columbus. That was the whole Babcock thing. He wasn't even, like, supposed to be the coach. They put him in the coach. That team is a total shit show anyway. They fired Evison. Like, they don't know what they're doing. It doesn't matter whether they make the playoffs because they will be eaten alive in the first round. They're a soft team with work ethic problems and a complete inability to play any sort of defensive zone coverage. They're poorly coached with too many rushing defense. It doesn't matter if they make the playoff. I think it matters if they make the playoffs. Doesn't it? Yeah, Max. I gotta say, Max, I disagree with you on that one. I do think it matters if they make the playoffs. No, I think it matters. Like, you got to make the playoffs before you can win in the playoffs. I think going to the playoffs and losing is like a good experience for them. They're not just gonna like wake up one day and be like cup winners. Like, they're gonna have to take their lumps in the playoffs first and learn some hard lessons in the playoffs first. Okay, we're back for the third period. Max says, my point is that it's totally predictable what will happen to them. Yeah, I mean, if they make the playoffs, they're gonna have to face either Tampa and Buffalo. So yeah, it's like not Not looking great for them, but I wouldn't say it's a foregone conclusion that they can't win. Like, what if Fowler just totally takes a step forward? Or what if Dobesh, knowing that Montembeau's not around, takes a big step forward and suddenly they have very good goaltending that can kind of shore up some of these defensive issues and they keep scoring? Like, they're going to be a tough team to beat. Pretty good back and forth to start the third period here. Both teams. Oh! Yeah, Bolduc nearly tripped up. I mean, sent the Boston guys flying, but I think it was incidental contact. The future is very bright for the Habs, and I'm not going to blow a gasket if they don't make the playoffs. Yeah, I'd be pretty disappointed in this crew if they don't make the playoffs, but that wouldn't necessarily make me think that the future isn't bright. Michael Eisemont with a nice redirect in the slot, but this time the Habs actually did have a lot of bodies in front, which was a nice change of pace. Bolduc got away with that one. Yeah, I think could have gone either way, but I guess they were chalking it up to fighting for the puck. By the way, Geno is doing a. He signed an insane contract with the Bruins, and he had like a couple of really bad years with the Kings, and I was like, oh man, they are gonna eat their words on that deal. But nah, Tanner Geno's like decent again. That's gonna be like the Anderson contract where you're kind of like, well, he gets paid a lot, but there's also no one that can really do what he does, so he's good to have around. Oh, nice try to Anderson. All right, we're 5 minutes through the third period. It's still 2-2. Shots are 22-21 Habs. Both teams are not really giving each other an inch to start this third period, but they're moving the puck well up the ice and then just not finding much room in the zone, which is nice for the Habs because they've obviously had lots of trouble tonight with that. The Dano line has been good. They have had a good night. They don't always. I think Anderson's kind of the straw that stirs that drink in a lot of ways because he's the one guy of the three that has speed. So if his legs are moving, like it takes a lot of pressure off of Gallagher. Are you kidding? Why is McAvoy all alone in the slot again? Ay, ay, ay. Boston played yesterday. They sure did. They didn't score, though, but got a very nice chance. Dobesh had to make a great save to keep this a 2-2 game. Boston is turning up the heat. Yeah, it was an even third period to start, but in the last couple minutes, Boston's definitely looked like the better team. All right, here we go. First line, the zone entry. Oh, tried to feed Slafkovsky, and Slafkovsky with the extreme high stick on the puck in the air tried to like tomahawk chop the puck over Swayman, but Swayman had it in his glove. The Bruins are only 1 point behind Montreal in the standings. This is an important game. This is a very important game. And the Bruins are playing like it's their playoff lives, and the Habs are playing like not great. Yeah, this is a hugely important game. Bob says, as much as I enjoy a Bruins Habs matchup, these teams don't hate each other as they did in the 70s and the 80s. That is true. Is that a bad thing? Good thing or bad thing? I mean, I wouldn't want to see the Habs get anybody hurt at this point, so. Not even close, Bob. Still my best Habs rivalry, but there's more hockey and less hate now. Karen asks, why can't we ever completely dominate a game? These close games are driving me insane. You and me both. Missed days of Jay Miller and John Kordick, R.I.P. Yeah, Geeky Man found McAvoy, who's like in the middle of this triangle, but man, he's still got a great shot off on Dobish. Dobish made a great save. Dobish having a good night tonight. Homa says, I stopped watching the Habs and hockey altogether for about 10 years. It was too depressing. Since this new management, I'm convinced we are okay. Things are definitely looking up compared to a few years back. Pimp says the Bruins are controlling the period so far. Habs with almost no sustained pressure almost halfway through. Worried they're fragile and they're playing not to lose, and they'll let Boston keep coming. Whereas Ryan says that Boston isn't getting tired, which is what everybody was hoping would happen, considering that they played last night. Kelly says Habs are trying to keep us tuning in late. I don't know. I don't think this game is like Boston's had a nice little run here in the third, but I can't say that it's been like thorough domination by any means. Although now we've got a 3-on-2 forming with the Bruins. Can they get something going here? Nah, Castlick's gonna dump it back out to center ice. Got some like deactivation from a couple of very big defensemen in Peak and Zadorov. Didn't work out particularly well for Boston, but they did it. Ooh, Texier with a nice shot through traffic there, but I think the puck got deflected high. Ah, broken stick by Texier on. Unfortunately, the Bruins had been stuck on the ice for quite some time, and then the Canadiens got a good chance, and Texier had a one timer, uh, kind of near the hash marks, and unfortunately his stick hit the Boston stick on the follow through and broke. So Boston gets a break there, but Canadiens, there you go. There was a little sustained pressure you guys were looking for. Mr. Tuesday night, I know. Does Cole realize they need a goal here? But that was a little bit of a better run there from the Habs. They looked a little better after I think gotten a little taken aback by Boston. Montreal has put the front foot in again, but still close. What are we in shots? We are 25-24 Boston. Man, it has been even, Steven, all night. Last night during a scrum in the corner, a Bruin tried to pass to the net, but Hughes was waiting there. Yeah, that's where they ought to be. Bruins have more zip, getting on the pucks faster. I felt like that until like the last 2 minutes. The last 2 minutes, yeah. Bob's like, not a bad shit by that line. Up until the last 2 minutes, Boston, I think, had a little extra step in the second. But now the Habs have kind of like come back here, and we've still got the whole back half here of this period to play. Karen's still in the second. Well, I guess it's 2-2 where you're at, but plenty of hockey to go still. And it's really anybody's game. They're pretty even in shots. I feel like they're taking turns being the better team tonight. Canadians took some bad penalties, paid the price for it, and then they did not take advantage on their own power play, which has been pretty anemic of late. That could be the difference. There you go. Nice turnover by the Habs. And again, it's the Anderson line. Ah, it would have been nice if Dobson's shot had made it. Habs should have a better team than Boston, yet strangely they look evenly matched. Well, that is the joys of parity in this league. And I guess, yeah, they do got a pretty rugged defense and a good goalie, so there's some aspects where the Bruins are pretty solid. But I would say that the Bruins do not have a pretty exciting. They don't have a very good forward core. I would say, outside of Pasternak, I think they're pretty pretty weak at forward, but they're looking all right tonight. Yeah, this icing is taking forever to get going. This is annoying. They miss the net a lot. The Habs do miss the net a lot, I will say. I don't know if that's statistically true, but certainly anecdotally it feels that way. Well, this icing has proven to be not great for the Habs. They can't get it out of the zone. There you go. Yeah, they chop it to center ice. 8:30 to go in the game. It's 25-24 in shots. Boston, and it's 2-2. Slight edge to the Bruins in this period, but I can't say that either has been on the doorstep of winning this game. Are these teams playing for overtime right now? Both teams could benefit from a three-pointer, so I wanted to ask you guys because it's been a record number of games going to overtime this year. Not just the Habs, league wide OT. Do you think that the teams play for the OT? Because I'm just watching the last like 3-4 minutes of this game, and it looks like neither team, wants to make that mistake and prevent the point. Like both teams want that 1 point. Do you guys think that they play for the OT at a certain point? Hey, some good news. Venezuela up 2-0 on the U.S. I'll turn on. I'll tune into that game when this one's done. No, I don't think so. I don't want to watch. I'm gonna be too depressed if the U.S. wins. I liked it more when the U.S. didn't care about international competition. Now they take it a little too seriously. You know what I mean? Oh, what the heck was that? All right, Geeky stole the puck, but nothing really developed of it. Oh, now they're letting him walk right in. Jeez Louise. Matheson played it risky, but he was able to cut down the pass, and it went right into Dobesh. But Geeky with a nice little steal there. Only one penalty to the Bruins, reflection of softer play overall. They haven't been that dangerous. Yeah, this has not been a particularly physical game. I can't see too many incidences where I was like, oh yeah, an egregious penalty was missed. And then two of the Habs penalties were high sticks, which are like obvious calls. So Yeah, it's 3-1 in penalties, but I can't say that I can't say that anything's been missed so far by Wes McCauley and the boys. Teams do get more conservative in the last 10 minutes, so yes, they do play for the OT. Unfortunately, yes, it's like a slow skate to get an icing call. Oh yeah, that icing was so took forever. Kusnedinov looked like he's holding his mouth and he's in the bench. Nothing was called. No idea what happened. But he's definitely looking like he's in a world of hurt on the bench. All right, the Habs are regrouping here behind the net with exactly 5 minutes to play. Oh, that was a nice little try. Was that Gallagher trying to like slide one in on the short side of Swayman? It was. That was a nice try though. Hey, those do work sometimes. At least 3 minutes behind for my timings. Really? We are. There's 4:40 to play in the third period. That's like the time that, and I definitely posted this prior to 20 seconds. So you can't be at 2 minutes left unless you're at the game. Are you at the game and experiencing life in the present? That'd be the only other explanation. But no, there's 4:40 left in the third period for sure. The sick theme song has become a hit across the country because of Sid Seixeiro's show. People are now watching Tony's podcast because of Sid. Yeah, I mean, Sid is an entertaining guy and very happy for all of Tony's success. That man, one of the hardest working men in media, no doubt about it. Armenia says the Habs have been low energy since the Ottawa game. I concur. And even the Ottawa game, they only won the game because Fowler stole it. Karen says, once I was on the Highway 10 coming home after night school at Concordia. Huge crash. I listened to the whole game sitting on the highway. Well, I hope everybody was okay on that crash, but otherwise, there are worse ways to spend your evening. I have definitely listened to the Habs on the radio in the traffic. Well, 4:19 left. This game's kind of slow to a bit of a crawl here. I think both teams are sensing a point in the offing. So let's see what happens. especially the Bruins, which are getting offensive zone faceoffs. But Evans won that one, so the Habs are going to get another chance here. Sid and Tony aren't afraid to tell us when our teams are a mess. Oh my God. Can you imagine covering the Leafs this year? Never a dull moment. Oh, Swayman gave up a big rebound there, and man, within a second, the Bruins clear, and it's already in the zone. Terrible. Missed opportunity for the Habs there. Oh, kind of like a stretch floating pass. Habs aren't able to corral that either, but they get the puck back in the zone. All right, top line here. Holy moly! What moves? What moves by Caufield? I can't believe he could not score. Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me, Cole Caufield? He absolutely just danced around everybody. I think they're looking to go upstairs and see if Andrew Peak put his glove on the puck. So Peak is, Peak is definitely trying to put his hand on the puck there, but I don't think he ever succeeded because that would be a penalty shot. Well, can the Habs keep it in the zone? They cannot. Boston's going to send this down the ice. Oh, what a hit by Anderson. Man, what a night he's having. But they can't take advantage. All right, we got 2:18 to go now in the third period. It's still 2-2. It's all Canadians right now at this moment. Oh, man. Caufield hit the outside post, basically, and then the Swayman was way out of the net. Andrew Peaks the goalie, and Suzuki fires right into him. Really nice play by Peak. And Anderson's keeled over on the bench. That guy has used up all his energy tonight. But he's had a good game. He has done exactly what you need from your bottom six. Scored the tying goal. All right, it's 1:35 to go. 1:30 now. Habs are settling in their own zone, so they're going to try to move the puck up the ice. They got the puck behind the nets. Canadians opt for the dump in, but not even close to And Pasternak gets a nice shot off, but Dobish is there to cover up. Am I going to do the Tony shirt ripoff to get more subscribers? Nobody wants to see me rip off my shirt. I'll show you my shirt, though. I have, hold on. Actually, I wore the closest thing that I had to a green shirt tonight. I have my, shout out my Cafe Olimpico shirt tonight. I wanted to root for, this is the closest I had to St. Patrick's clothes. I don't wear a lot of green, which is weird because I actually like the color green a lot, but there's not a lot of green clothes. And when it is, it's mostly like St. Patrick's themed. But not a lot of people in life with just like, I got a green t-shirt. Isn't that crazy? Dobish has played well tonight. Well, now we're in the final minute, and the puck is in the Habs zone. They would like to get it out ASAP. These are the exact kind of situations where the Canadiens just like are not good at just winding the clock down. This is where David Savard earned his money, but the Canadiens do get the zone exit here. So they're going to have one chance here with 30 seconds left. The first line is going to dump the puck in and try to keep it in. They don't even keep it in for 1 second. I mean, that's perilously close to a too many men penalty. No call. That was almost a too many men by Boston, but I don't think it seemed like the puck handler switched and it was okay. Okay, we're going to overtime. I mean, it's kind of like a weird, like, usually you like to get that point, but I mean, Boston also is getting a point, so you're like not super benefiting here, but hey, the only people who really lose tonight are the Red Wings. The Red Wings and the Columbus Blue Jackets definitely lose tonight, but hey, if Montreal and Boston both make it into the playoffs, it's all good. Entertaining hockey. It was all right. They didn't play that bad tonight. So specifically, I want to know, how do you guys feel like the Habs played in regulation? Because overtime, whatever, anything fucking happens. Like it's one bad bounce and it's over. But in like the game, how do you guys feel they played? I thought they did okay. They like, I think they should have won. I think they could have gone a little harder. I think that Boston played like a little above. I think Boston played like a little above, and then Habs played like a little below their level. But I didn't think the Habs played too bad tonight. Honestly, they didn't play their best, but I think with all the scrutiny on the defense, here comes another coin flip period. That's overtime for you. For a month before the trade deadline, all we heard about was speculation about what the Habs should do, and it was a snooze fest. Now all we hear about is what the Habs should have done, and it's another snooze fest. They played better than the weekend, Ryan says. Yeah, I agree. Mark says team played well. Karen says, do I need to watch the last 10 minutes or skip and just jump to OT? I would say skip. Karen, I say skip. You're not missing anything. Well, they had to bring it tonight or get bumped out of third by Boston. They might still, I guess. No, I guess they'd be tied after this. Yeah, everybody says skip to OT. Skip to OT, Karen. Okay, Caufield walking in here. Let's see how he goes. Lucky the Bruins offense is not as good as the Sharks or Ducks. That's true. They're they're not as offensively powerful as those teams. But then again, they're also defensively pretty solid. So 2 goals is a little more meaningful than putting up 2 goals against the Sharks or the for the Ducks. Well, it's Boston's got the puck, but they're not. They're just kind of doing that circling around bit. Nothing's actually happened yet in this overtime. We're 1 minute in. Boston moving the puck pretty well, but not really getting any chances, to be honest. I guess they're just hoping to. Hey, if you've got puck possession, you've got a chance here. And so far, the Canadiens players have been on for 3:20. They're doing like kind of a partial shift right now. But Hudson and Suzuki have been on for almost 2 minutes now. This is not good. Canadiens definitely need a whistle. Uh-oh, we got a 2-on-1 here. And what a play! Hudson, but he's exhausted. He's at the end of his shift. He's been out for 2 minutes and he's skating so hard. Oh my goodness. What a play by Hudson at the end of a shift. And he would have sent it back up the ice. All right, well, now the Canadiens have the puck with 2:30, and they got a fresh threesome out there. Dobson with Demidov and Slavkovsky. Can they get something going? Oh, Slavkovsky with a nice shot. Oh, Demidov fights the guy off, and he gets a nice shot in front. Oh, Slavkovsky. All right, Evans is now on. Oh, and Dobson fans on it. Are they going to lose the puck? They're fighting for it, though. No, Evans gets the puck back. But it's way too far. We've got 1:30 left in overtime. Canadiens now are the ones with the puck. Can they get something going? Texier with Evans, and is that Matheson is the other defenseman? Yeah. And Texier loses the puck in pretty bad fashion, but there's a turnover, and he gets a nice shot on net. Oh, and they gave Evans and Texier gave Swayman a bit of an ice bath, so Middlestat took exception to that. And now Evans got him in a headlock. But this is going to give enough time for the first line to get back on. Okay, 1:08 to go. Shots are 30-27. It's tied up at 2 in overtime. Boston wins the faceoff, and they get a breakaway. And Zacha misses the breakaway. Oof. Oof. Can Hudson do it at the other end? You know Caufield's looking to score 40. Can he get it done? And they score. And it's over. Of course, it's Cole Caufield. Off the deflection. It's over. Habs win. Our national nightmare is over. The 2-game losing streak is in the rear view. The Habs put up 2 points tonight. The first time the first Hab in 32 years to score 40 goals. Unreal. What an ending. I mean, that was all Hudson on that overtime. He was incredible. Kept the play alive when no one else would. Unreal. CC40. Huge extra point. Great overtime. Never in doubt, of course, of course. They all look dead tired. Yeah, it's a long game, a long game. Goal Caufield. Somewhere Timur slamming his head against the wall. We got another one. Take that, Timur, and shove it. Where is Timur tonight? He showed up the other night. Showed up the other night when I think Caufield wasn't playing, and he was like, Caufield's having a terrible night. I'm like, yeah, he's got it home with the flu. Welcome, Mr. 40 goal man. Great pass from Nick. Hudson sets up the play. Unreal. First 40 goal scorer at the Bell Center or the Molson Center or the center. That's unfreaking real. Our prize for the night. Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you. We'll see you all again on Thursday. So yeah, we'll be here Thursday for Habs versus Wings. Can't miss that one. That's a good one. Nice win for the boys. Congrats to CC on 40 goals. Who else but Caufield? Donfus is here. Hey, is Caufield going to score 50? There's plenty of time. Plenty of time. Vincent D'Anjou's also scored the last goal at the Old Forum and the first two at the new Bell Center. Oh, that's a fun fact. I didn't know that. Well, that was not as expected, that game. No, it was as expected. It was a tight game. We expected a tight one. Cole Caufield has done it. He has scored his 40th goal. There is still lots of time left for him to get even more goals. Maybe he can get 50. It'll be tough, but maybe he can do it. And the Canadiens, more importantly, bag 2 incredibly important points in the playoff race. Where are my Giants hat again on a Thursday? Remind me to do that. If you don't see it, remind me. The Giants are going to be good luck for the Habs. And then maybe I got to wear a Habs hat when the Giants play, and that'll give the Giants good luck. The Giants are going to need more luck than the Habs. You guys think the Habs are going to struggle? Go on the rest of the way. Giants, nothing compares to the Giants. Okay. Thank you guys all for coming. Who starts in goal on Thursday? I mean, the way that it's been going, Fowler, I don't know. That's kind of how they've been doing it. Why didn't Anderson come out for the third star? Did he not come out for the third star? I mean, he was wiped at the end of the game. He might have been getting some oxygen at the end of the game. I'm not too sure. I hope he's not hurt because they definitely need him against the Wings. So I'll see you guys all against the Wings on Thursday. Thank you so much for joining, and the Habs are back on track. We can all chill a little bit. The playoffs are